Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next segment of our nPhoto live chat. Today's nPhoto live chat, we are, I believe, on episode number 10. Can you believe it? Already we have gone through 9 other live chats. I am, of course, your host, Eugene Negowiecki with nPhoto, and I am so excited to introduce our next guest to you today. Today, we are sitting down with maternity and newborn photographer Fenna Holwerda from Wonder Fotografie in Holland. Hello, Fenna.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Excited to do
One,
this. A little bit nervous. I've never done this before, but should be fine.
you're gonna be fine, Fenna. Don't worry. Just a little bit about Fenna, and then I'll toss it over to her. She is a fine art newborn photographer. She does center sessions, maternity sessions, as well as cake smash photography. She is here to share her knowledge and experience with us. Of course, she does a lot of nice mini sessions that we would like to ask her about as well. Is there something else you would like to let us know about yourself, Fenna, before we go?
Well, some might know you from my YouTube channel, the Fenna Photography channel, where I share a lot of behind-the-scenes clips and DIY projects. So yeah, that might be great. I'm a mom with 2 kids, living in the Netherlands, and I'm excited to share a little bit more today about my business and maybe encourage and motivate you in your business.
Excellent. Absolutely. Say hello to us in the comments when you are coming in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And even if you want to, what kind of photographer you are. As I mentioned, we're going to talk to Fenna about many different things, one of which is mini sessions. And with that, I want to remind our audience quickly before we jump into the interview of our tremendous mini session promo we have going on right now, where you can get 45% off select products to help bolster your mini sessions. This promo is valid through December 15th, and it is for client orders and a code or a system that you can use repeatedly to help lower the cost of your product offer for your clientele, and you can reap the bigger profits. This is for 6 particular products: our folio box, our box for prints, our fine art prints, our new product, our fine art prints, framed prints, our triplexes, and special mini-sized photo albums that are perfect to complement your mini sessions. Once again, 45% off these products, and these are for client orders, and it's something you can use repeatedly again and again. We will be putting a link in the comments shortly to take advantage of this promo. Do yourself a favor, click on it, and you will not be sorry. All right, Fenna, what do you say we get started with our live chat for today?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Fenna, the first question that I wanted to ask you is, how would you describe your brand, Wonder Fotografie?
Yeah, I think I am my brand, kind of.
Okay.
I'm just a one-man show. So I run my photography business and it's just me. So I photograph and I edit by myself. So I don't have assistants in the studio. So I think describing my brand, I should actually ask my customers how they would describe my brand. And then hopefully they'll be positive. But it's more about me, I guess, as a person, welcoming them to the studio, photographing their babies, or photographing them during maternity session, and just the communication beforehand, during, after the session. Yeah, I hope they will describe me as being a warm brand, loving, a loving brand, professional as well, but very personal too. So during the session, I try to make the parents feel really comfortable and to photograph their baby with a lot of love and patience and care, and just making beautiful images of their children and of themselves, and just delivering the images to them with love, and yeah, just trying to make them feel comfortable. So I hope describing my brand would be like just kind, friendly brand, professional images with a lot of love for the art that we're creating as a brand. So yeah, hopefully something like that.
Okay. But you mentioned that it centers a lot around you as a person. Do you think that it's important for like a maternity and a newborn photographer or any professional photographer to have kind of a strong brand?
I think it's important to stick to your own brand, as in having like a beautiful concept that you like an experience that you provide to the parents when they book a session. So I would say have your website look as beautiful as you can, so that it's appealing for the parents when they come to your website, and it's all like they have a consistency and quality in the images that they see. Maybe when you have business cards or flyers, or that it all looks similar with the colors that you use, the images that you use, that they can see in the quality of the images that the quality that you provide during the session is of the same standard. And I think it's great to stick to your own editing style and your own working method. Like, I mean, it's great if you have a big commercial studio with assistants, if that is part of your brand. And if you keep it small and personal and maybe have a home studio, that's great too, because that's your brand. And what I like to do is give the clients a good overview of what my brand is and what I have to offer. So when they book a session, like even in my email, you can, in my signature, there's like a collage of some images. The colors that I use, the images that I use are similar to the ones on my webpage, are similar on my Instagram page or Facebook page. And I sent them a link to a little behind the scenes video that I have created for clients that they can see before they book me. So they know what the studio looks like. They know what kind of colors I use and how I work. They can see a glimpse of me. So they know where they're going with their newborn baby, and they kind of know what to expect. And it's all like the same. I hope it all gives one solid image of what the photo session will be like and what to expect. And it gives a glimpse of me as well. So yeah.
Okay. Consistency is something that's sounding very important when you're trying to build that brand, is to be consistent, like you said, in your emails, in your social media, on your website, with your photography and things like that. So that's a very important thing I'm hearing from your answer there. And it's nice that you said with the email signature. I think that's a great idea to put some of your photos and stuff in there so people can get an idea of what to expect from you. But you mentioned how you are, of course, the center of your brand. So I want to ask you the question of kind of about yourself. And that is, when did you decide to kind of go all in with photography, or have that moment where you're like, I want to be a professional photographer?
I think like as a child, I always loved creating images. So I was painting and coloring. And once I started getting a camera, I loved taking photos. Then when I was studying, I traveled, and I just love taking photos because it's a way to bring memories home as well, to share with your loved ones. I mean, you can describe what a place looks like, but if you have an image, a photo, it's so much easier to let parents back home show what you saw. Then I started photographing people as well as I was traveling. And I just really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was kind of like a hobby, just something that I really enjoyed doing. So I didn't initially study photography. I studied international business and management.
Wow.
I took some Spanish courses. I studied in Finland, and I did my internship in Australia. So I could improve my English as well. So that was great. But in the meantime, I was still photographing. I really loved it, just as a hobby. And then I actually got a regular job, which had nothing to do with photography. But in the meantime, I did just fun sessions with friends and family members and pets. And I remember one time I just bought a pair of like shoes, like high heels that it wasn't even my size, and I was going to return them to the store. But I just placed them like on a beautiful location. I had some jewelry, like some a necklace and rings and like some flowers, just practicing taking photos of like products. And maybe one day I could become a wedding photographer, and then you photograph shoes and rings and necklaces. So I photographed these shoes and then I returned them to the store, and I felt really silly, but I could practice with, just the triangle of like the aperture and the ISO and your shutter speed, and how that changed the image if I changed one of these three factors, and like using first just a basic 50mm lens, 1.8, not very expensive. Taking portraits, you can already get some great images. So I just did photography as a hobby pretty much. And then so I slowly started getting into doing other shoots, because people saw my images, which I shared online as well. And they would ask, oh, could you photograph my family, or just for free, or like a business portrait that they could use on LinkedIn, just friends. So I really enjoyed doing that. And then I got pregnant, became pregnant with my daughter 8 years ago, well, 7.5 years ago. And then I started looking for like a baby photographer, because I wanted to have beautiful images of her as well. And I couldn't really find a photographer in the area where I lived who had beautiful photos on their website, just with soft light, comfortable positions for the baby, and just, yeah, really like showcasing the beauty, the pureness of the baby, but just very softly, delicately, and like warm images. I couldn't really find those yet, because that was 8 years ago. So there just wasn't that much yet. And then I saw in other countries where photographers were offering these type of sessions that it was possible. So I thought maybe I can start looking into baby and newborn photography, but just on the side, because I was still working, I don't know, 32 hours a week. So then on my off day, I could do photography, but of course there was also a baby coming, because I was doing some free sessions in the weekends, or I would just get like a little bit of money from people who were asking me to photograph their family. So it was a hobby, and it just started growing by itself. And then I attended some workshops to learn about baby and newborn photography, to learn about the safety, the anatomy of the baby, how to pose the baby, wrap the baby, what to pay attention to as far as like safety, the temperature in the studio, the materials that you use, transitions from one pose to the next. And then I just started photographing younger kids and sometimes babies as well. But I was still having my other job as well. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how I started.
All right. Yeah, and it sounds like, as you said, when it gets to the maternity and the newborn part of it, it almost came up out of necessity. Like you said, you saw there weren't people around you who were offering what you wanted, and of course, you had the baby coming, so you
Yeah.
recognized the opportunity. I think that's a great story, and look at where you are now, over close to 60,000 followers on your YouTube channel, which we're going to get into a little bit later in this chat, of course. I want to jump to the mini sessions part of it now.
Yeah.
Again, this is something that you offer. It's something very common for, or popular with, maternity and newborn photographers and family photographers. Did you always offer mini sessions, or when did you decide to start offering mini sessions?
I think I decided like close to the beginning as well, just like holiday themed mini sessions, because of course it's popular to get your Christmas photo taken, maybe printed on a Christmas card. But most people don't want a full 1 hour session, because they only want a few photos for their Christmas cards. So then I thought it could be fun to have like one setup, one decor, or maybe 2, 3, but just decors that you prepare beforehand, and then have people come, so they have their Christmas photo taken. And then maybe it only takes 20 minutes or half an hour, so you can have multiple families coming in one day, all having their photo taken at the same set. So that's how I started, kind of with mini sessions. Also because I love photographing babies. Like I specialized in newborn and baby photography, so I do maternity sessions as well, and then up to when babies are about like 1 year old. So I have the sitter sessions in between when they're around 7, 8 months, and then the cake smash session when they turn 1. But I also love photographing families and older kids. But I experienced that in a studio, sometimes the kids are tired after half an hour and they just want to go outside and run around. And in the studio, there's not that much space, or they're not allowed to touch everything. So then sometimes just 20 minutes, half an hour is enough. And then a mini session can be perfect. So yeah, just a themed session, or there's so many fun ideas. And outside as well, I've done some mini sessions. So it's great to photograph older kids, especially my kids are getting older. So I also get more requests, like, do you also photograph older kids? And then I can say, okay, a few times a year I have a mini session, and then older kids are very welcome to come, and we can take some sibling photos or family photos. Yeah.
Yeah. We're kind of on this topic now, but what are some things that maternity and newborn photographers, and maybe even family photographers, can do to get the most out of their mini sessions? Again, you offer these and they're a valuable asset for you and your business. What are some things that you might recommend for other professional photographers, maternity, newborn, and family, to make the most of their mini sessions?
Like, to make the most, as in like the most revenue, or?
Well, just to get the most out of them. It could mean money, or it could mean just, a happy client or a happy photographer. Sometimes mini sessions get a bad reputation as kind of just being traps for photographers, where they're left running around and don't get much money out of it, or the client is then unhappy or something like this. So maybe some ideas just for themes, or just some ways to structure mini sessions. Things that a photographer can do to make sure that the client is happy after the mini session, and that they themselves, as a photographer, is happy after the mini session as well.
Yeah, because like, as far as meeting their expectations, I think it's important to communicate in a very clear manner as to what the sets look like, how long a session lasts, how many images are included, if they have to come 5 minutes before the session, what happens if they're late, maybe already be dressed by the time they come in, because there's not a lot of time to get dressed and maybe apply makeup or do your hair in the studio. I think to communicate in a very clear manner is the best for not having like disappointments. I try to schedule 10 minutes in between at least. So maybe a session is 20 minutes. So then I have a family every 30 minutes. If a session is half an hour, I have a family every 45 minutes. So this gives me time as well to welcome the new family into the studio and just start not stressed, but relaxed, finish the session, say goodbye, and then they don't actually meet the next family most of the time. So that gives them also the impression that you have a lot of time for them, which I do, because I want to make every session as great as possible. So I also make sure that I don't schedule too many sessions a day, because I want to be able to offer the same quality to the first family as to the last family. So if I go for 20 families in one day, I know that by session 15, I'm so exhausted and maybe hungry and cranky and I don't know. And I want to be able to be friendly and be patient to all the families. So sometimes I only schedule 8 families, or maybe maximum of 10. And then I have maybe an hour in between. So I do 5 sessions in the morning, 5 in the afternoon. So I actually have time to eat lunch, so that you take care of yourself as well on a day like that, so that you are relaxed and that the people who are coming are happy to be there. And as far as like how to get the most out of it, I wouldn't necessarily really focus on the revenue you're getting on a day like that, because maybe it's not about earning that much money. Seeing how much time you invest in maybe buying the props for the set, creating the set, being there the whole day, then sorting the photos, editing, like all the communication beforehand, during, and afterwards. Maybe your hourly rate is not as high as with a regular newborn session, but what you can get out of it are just very happy customers. And that's the best advertising that you can do, is like, if people are super happy with their photos, they tell it to their family and friends. Maybe it's a way of getting to know you. And then in the future, they might book you for a maternity or newborn session, or they might gift people a session, like a gift certificate, because they've met you, they've seen your studio, they know how you work, they're super happy, so they trust you, and then they might book with you in the future, or just share it with others. I also think it's a great way of seeing customers again. So sometimes I have photographed customers 4 times, like maternity, and then newborn, and then sitter, and then cake smash, and then maybe even more often when they get like second babies or third babies, and then the babies grow up. And it's a great way of seeing them again during a mini session, maybe Christmas session, So yeah, you build like customer relationships, and it's a fun day. Like with Christmas sessions, I put some music on, I have some Christmas cookies. So, and then like they can have like a hot beverage. So it's kind of like a great day. Just enjoy the day and make sure that you have some breaks for yourself, and communicate everything as clear as possible to your customers so they know what to expect, and that they enjoy the experience, hopefully.
Yeah, you had a lot of good advice there, Fenna. And being communicative and clear about the mini sessions, I think, is important. And also, you were talking about just being relaxed as the photographer. I think that's a big key as well. Again, sometimes it might be taken too far with the mini sessions where the photographer, like you said, they want 20 families or 15 families. And so they get exhausted, which of course is going to make a client feed off of that, or just the reaction then of the photographer with the client at the 15th session is not going to probably be the best. So just having ways for the photographer themselves to relax, I think that's a very a good point to make as well. You mentioned that sometimes you're limiting the number of families that you have per day. When you offer mini sessions, is it generally just like one day, or do you sometimes split them out like 2 or 3 days for a type of a mini session?
Yeah, I've done both. Like I've done some mini sessions just on one day.
Mm.
One like session where I did outside, there was like an orchard, and when you have the cherry blossom, it's super beautiful, but you don't really know beforehand which weeks are the prettiest. And then the weather in the Netherlands is like, I mean, you cannot uh, just predict what it's going to be like. 'Cause one day it can be like 25 and sun, and then the next day it's 10 degrees and raining, and that's Celsius. But so you don't really know what the weather's going to be like. So, but I've done it on actually separate weekends as well.
Mm.
And then I had like a backup weekend. So actually like 3 weekends I reserved, but I only booked for 2 weekends, so that if on one Saturday it was raining a lot, we could move all the families to another weekend. But to give options as well for the people to book, I would have multiple days available, but sometimes
Mm.
just one day. Depends a little bit on the session. Like some are really popular. I mean, you can do like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine, Easter, Christmas. And then here you have some beautiful like areas which are beautiful on certain types of the year. Like you have like purple flower fields. So it's great to do sessions there. And some are really popular, like the outside with the purple flowers, or the cherry blossom. They're really popular. So people actually email me throughout the year, like, when are you going to do those sessions again? But sometimes Eastern, you don't really get a lot of bookings because it's close to other holidays, or people just don't celebrate it that much in certain countries. And yeah, you just go as you can see as you go, like what is popular and what is not.
Okay. And those are great themes to suggest for other photographers. The other thing about mini sessions that you mentioned that I thought was really great is how you can kind of expand your service with mini sessions. I know a lot of times photographers fear of promoting too many genres of photography that they offer. For example, if they're a maternity and newborn, they just want to stick with being a maternity and newborn. But a mini session is a great way to, like you say, service those clients who came to you as a maternity and newborn client, but then of course, like, they're growing. So you don't lose that service, but you
Mm-hmm.
also have a way to service them without having to worry about, diluting your brand by suddenly specializing in a million different things. So I think that
Yeah.
was another great point that you brought up as well. If you don't mind, but the other thing I think photographers are struggling with when it comes to mini sessions, because they are different than the full-time session, is how to go about pricing them and things like that. What advice would you give to a photographer who wants to offer a mini session to kind of complement their full session, but they don't really know how to do it in terms of pricing it properly?
Um, yeah, I think maybe some like market research could be great. But I want to say this very carefully, because don't
Mm.
just copy what everybody else is doing in your region, but maybe just look around a little bit, like see what others are charging for mini sessions, and then make it a different package so it's less confusing. Like the price is lower, but then if you get the same amount of images as with a our portrait session, it might be confusing. I mean, the people understand that the time for the mini session is shorter, and that
Mm.
they don't choose the decor or the location. but maybe also include less digital images or maybe another product. So it's a completely different experience, a different package that you offer, so that people don't start comparing to what you have on your website, maybe as far as other prices. But yeah, like maybe I'm not the best person to ask about prices, because some people would say I'm way too cheap and I should increase my prices. But I kind of have my prices the way, what feels comfortable for me right now. Like I know what the people in my area are willing to pay. I know what I would be willing to pay for a session, and never undermine your own talent. Like you're worth a lot and your art. And I would say don't give away everything for free, because you have to kind of like calculate everything in your prices. Like you have your gear, you have your insurances, you have your education, you have your studio rent, your props, all the time that you spend not just taking the photo, but editing and communicating with the clients, updating your website, updating your social media. It's all work. And I mean, you can volunteer in your own company, but at the end of the day, you still want to be able to pay your rent and pay your groceries. But yeah, I could increase my prices. But at this moment, my mini sessions are quite cheap. But it's also just a way of, people get to know my business, and then they come back in the future and book other sessions. So I mean, you can always go to my website and check out my prices. It's all on there. But also take into account what happens in your country. Like not every country has the same income levels, or people spend the same on luxury products. Even in one country, in the area where you live can differ a lot. Like if you live in the big city or you live in the countryside, people are willing to pay other amounts. So kind of look at what other people are doing, calculate whatever time you invest in doing your sessions, and then also ask yourself, like, what would I be willing to pay? And then kind of like get into a price. And then I can always ask my mom, like, what would you, like, do you think this is a fair price for this package? And she's usually like, no, that's way too expensive. And I'm like, okay, that's okay then. Like, yeah, I don't know, just do whatever feels great. Yeah.
But Fenna, I think that was the perfect answer, though. It's not the easy answer, but I think it's the best answer, and that is to pay attention to your own situation, to do the research, and to make sure that you are comfortable as the specific photographer in question. You are free, audience, to check Fenna's platforms. We recommend it as well. There are links in the description of this event if you want to check out Fenna's platforms, her website, her YouTube channel, social media, and stuff as well. But I think that was the best answer, Fenna, that you just gave. I'm going to come to the audience now. I see it's been active, and I want to address that. I've seen some nice questions pop up as we've been going through, Fenna. Hello to everybody. I want to say in the comments, thank you for saying hello. I've seen hello, Man from USA. How are you doing? Huge fan, Maria. We are happy you like us. Hi from Belgium, Larissa. Hello to you as well. Hello, Kunigunda. Josine, hi. How are you? Okay, I saw a question coming up. Hello to everybody. If I happen to miss your name, keep questions coming. Keep letting us know if you're tuning in. Beautiful work I see from Linda. She says she checked out your website. Here is a question from Ellie. How do you know when the time for the mini session is over? Do you regularly watch the clock, or do you have an alarm?
Well, I do have a very big clock in my studio. I don't wear a watch or set an alarm, so I can like glimpse over to the clock. But usually I don't really look at the clock. It's the same with newborn sessions, because I have my workflow. Like they come in, you offer them some coffee or tea, whatever. You undress the baby, put them on the beanbag. Maybe in between there's a feeding, changing the diaper. We go from the beanbag to the flocati to, I don't know. And then by the time I finish, I look at the clock, and pretty much always it's like time to finish. Like 2 hours has passed. And same with the mini sessions. I don't really look at the clock a lot, but somehow it always works out fine. But I would say wear a watch maybe instead of setting an alarm, because it's maybe friendlier. Because maybe the session is 20 minutes. And then maybe there's a baby who is a little bit, or like a child who's a little bit shy, or a baby who is maybe crying a little bit, or they just spit up and they do have to change their outfit, or They come in with a full diaper and you have a changing table. Okay, so you give them a few minutes to change the baby. And then if your alarm goes off after 20 minutes, it can be a little bit harsh. But if you glance over to your watch and you see 20 minutes has passed, but you still have 10 minutes before the next clients come, you can continue for 2 or 3 minutes more without an alarm going off. And then you can slowly end the sessions and then friendly move them out of the studio before the next clients come. So I wouldn't really use an alarm, but maybe just like have like a watch on. Yeah.
Yeah, good question,
or you can
Ellie.
just play the same Christmas song over and over, and then you know by the time the fourth song comes on, you have to finish. That could work.
Don't remind me, Christmas music season is coming. Yeah. I mean, I like Christmas music, but yeah, when they start it in like October, by the time it gets to Christmas, you're ready. Thank you for the question, Ellie. Linda now has a question as well. I see. What would you recommend to other newborn photographers for marketing to find new clients? Linda is getting ahead in the interview. She's asking about marketing, which we'll get to soon. But fair enough. What would you say to Linda?
Of course, you can go through all the basic channels. Like I would say, have a pretty website, some business cards, some flyers, go on social media, have a beautiful Instagram account, even Facebook. I know there are not that many young people on Facebook anymore, but I mean, maybe their grandmothers are on Facebook and they will say to their daughter, okay, you're pregnant. You should get yourself this photographer because I've been following her for a while, or they gift the session. So don't forget about Facebook. And yeah, show behind the scenes as well on your social media accounts, because people want to see the face behind the brand, and they kind of like, it's like relatable when they see you as a person. Maybe yeah, I don't know, if I see a brand and then I see the person who's creating the products busy creating the products, I love buying the product even more because I know where it came from and who is creating that product. But then also maybe go and see if there are some stores in your area which sell, I don't know, like baby clothing, baby products. Ask if you can put some flyers or business cards there. Sometimes they have like mommy groups which meet up once a week just to hang out, and maybe you can have some flyers there. Or hospitals like a midwife organizations. Sometimes you can even like pay for it a little bit, because I know in the previous city where I lived, they would hand out gift bags in the hospital. After you have your baby, you get like a gift bag with some magazines and some like coupons and maybe a little gift, and then I would pay a little bit and have my flyer in that bag as well. I stopped doing that because I moved, and I have a lot of customers coming now here anyway, so I'm not really that active anymore, like spreading out my flyers and business cards, but you can. So yeah, maybe that's a great way to just like going to places where babies are with their parents, maybe daycare centers or libraries where they, you know, read to toddlers once a week. If you can have some flyers there. So yeah.
I think that's an important point to mention too. In this day and age of social media and everything seeming to go through the internet and everything, in person, kind of the old-fashioned community networking, it still goes a long way. Of course, unfortunately, in this time, there might be some restrictions in doing so,
right.
but in general, when everything clears up, and it will one day clear up, don't neglect the traditional, you know, local community networking in person, like Fenna says, flyers in nurseries or hospital wings or things like this, on top of social media. I want to ask you, Fenna, if we're on social media, sorry to the audience, keep your questions coming. We're going to pause those questions for a second. Since we're on this topic, you mentioned Facebook. Kind of not a lot of people on there, so kind of you suggest like Instagram is kind of the place to be, or do you see that there's a specific social media platform that is kind of one that specifically maternity and newborn photographers should focus on, or is it better for them to address all platforms equally?
Well, I could say that, but I'm not a really good example because I do forget about Facebook a lot, so I don't post on there a lot. Of course, you can put whenever you post on Instagram that it automatically posts on Facebook as well. I didn't do that yet because then you have all the hashtags and it kind of looks messy. So I'd rather just have a separate post on Facebook with just several images in like horizontal and vertical placement, instead of on Instagram, you only in one post have all horizontal or all vertical, or it'll cut it square. So sometimes it looks a little bit messy if you post it on both platforms at the same time, but you can. So yeah, I would say Instagram is quite booming still. I actually have 2 separate accounts. And that was interesting because I have my normal business account, just a few thousand followers. And then I created a personal account just with some family and friends. I literally had like, I don't know, 200 followers or something. And then I started posting a little bit more behind the scenes on my personal account because I didn't want to like mess up my like normal account with like other types of images. So my personal account just became like a big mess of just some personal stuff, some random things, like my own kids, and then some behind the scenes. But it was a public account. And then suddenly I started gaining more followers there. Also because I started on YouTube, which was, I didn't really intentionally started this channel, and I never expected that it would grow out as big as it is now, which is great because I really love making videos. But, and then my personal account started growing a lot faster. So it's like 25,000 now, which to some still is small, but I enjoy my accounts, just the interaction I have with the followers. And it doesn't have to be huge to still be a great way of promoting your business as well. So I have my personal account, and then I kind of have my private account, but then my private account is more linked to my YouTube channel, which I have quite separate from my business webpage. So it's a bit confusing all, but I think it's all great. Just be present, be visible on social media, but also showing the face behind the camera, because apparently that's what people like the most. Because I can see how that account grew a lot faster because I show how I create my setups and how I clean up my setups, and just how sometimes a before and after of an edit, or just a behind the scenes video, or some teasers, short clips of videos that I actually post on my YouTube channel. So yeah, but it's a lot of work to update all those accounts. Like I forget a lot. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I haven't posted anything on my business account for like 5 days. I should post something on there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I still have Facebook. I didn't post there for a month. So, and then my personal account, it's easier because if I walk to school and I see a beautiful sunrise, I can just make a story because it's my personal account. I don't have to think a lot about it, but it's not that personal anymore now because it's also partly my business. But yeah.
Those are great points. And, you know, of course, social media is a great place to promote any kind of mini session or other kind of session you have coming up like that as well. And Fenna, we are dancing around. You are basically answering these next few questions I want to ask anyway, and that is in regards to YouTube. Because Fenna, don't downplay your numbers. You got some great numbers on your social media, particularly on YouTube. You have almost 60,000 subscribers. That's not something to sniff. That's a big deal, Fenna. That's great. And particularly YouTube, again, when we say social media, especially photographers, we think of Facebook, we think of Instagram, maybe Pinterest now, but YouTube tends to be something that is a little bit forgotten with photographers. But again, you have close to 60,000 subscribers. So I wanted to ask you, again, forgive me if you have to repeat yourself, but what did you do? What are some steps you took to get that platform to that level? And what are some things you can suggest other photographers to do to build a strong YouTube channel?
Yeah, like I don't know if my YouTube channel is something that a lot of photographers would want, because it's not as much promoting my business to future clients. It's more a channel that is like inspiring, encouraging, and motivating towards other photographers. So it's not that, like, if I would stop my YouTube channel today, if I would just delete my whole account, I would still have customers coming to the studio to book their sessions, because it's kind of like a separate flow of customers. Like, they come through my regular website and they don't even know that I have a YouTube channel. So my channel is more to just have fun. Like I like projects. Like, I like creating backdrops. making props out of wood, making newborn outfits. And I show how I make mistakes as well. It's quite relatable because I want to do it with a little bit of humor, just showing I'm just a normal mom, you know, like a day in the life is pretty chaotic. What I eat in a day is just like, I want to keep it relatable so that people watch it and enjoy watching it and maybe be inspired and motivated to create their own props, outfits, like low budget DIY projects. So it's not as my YouTube channel, I didn't start it to get more customers to my studio. The story of how I started, it's actually quite funny because I have a cousin, she's a little bit older than I am, and she started a beauty channel on YouTube. Just like, I don't know, maybe she had like 20, 30 subscribers, and she was just making videos about makeup. And it was just so much fun to watch it because like the humor here in the Netherlands is pretty sarcastic. So she was just having fun with her products, and it didn't have to be perfect. Yeah, but you could relate to her because I cannot put eyeliner on to save my life. I can't do it, and she can't do it. So she was making these videos, and it was just fun to watch. So then I thought, oh, I like making videos, and I like keeping myself busy, doing new things, just being creative because you're a mom. I'm a mom, so I sit at home a lot as well. I have my business, but sometimes it becomes a little bit repetitive. So I thought I could start a YouTube channel, just make fun videos about life in the Netherlands as a mom. So actually my channel first was called like Mom Life or something. It wasn't about photography at all. I would just go to like indoor playgrounds or like just outdoor areas for kids to play, or I would go shopping with the kids, or do some arts craft projects with the kids, and I would film that and place it on YouTube. And it was in English because I thought it would be fun, but I didn't want my kids to be in every video a lot and like show their faces a lot. And I didn't want it to be a lot about them. So I would show the craft and arts projects, but not show them as much. Maybe their hands, you know, doing it, or just a little bit in there. But if they decided that they didn't want to be in my video, I could still make my video. Then I thought, okay, actually, I don't want to show them that much, but it gets challenging because if you do a mom life channel, but you don't want to show your kids a lot, I mean, at some point it's not going to be that interesting anymore. So what else could I make a video about? And then I thought, okay, if I go to a birthday party and I tell people I'm a newborn photographer, they're usually very interested. Like, how does that work? They see the final images, but how do you get a baby in that position, sleeping? Like the light is hitting their face really nicely. You have beautiful depth, warm shadows. Like, how do you do that? So then I thought, okay, I could make some videos on my work, just how I work in the studio. And it can be for both. It can be for other photographers who want to see how I work and maybe learn something, or I mean, we don't really have like direct colleagues where you can just have like a business meeting and inspire and motivate each other. I'm pretty much working by myself. So I thought it would be fun to be in contact with other photographers around the world, maybe. And maybe I can book more clients because people Google a photographer, they see my videos, they see how I work, and they like that. So they want to come to my studio to book a session for their child. So it was kind of like going both ways. And then in the end, like I made more videos on just like props that I make myself, or like shopping trips, like how I buy my props, what I look for, but also some wrapping techniques where I place my light. I want to maybe start doing some editing videos. I'm working on that, but it's more than to other photographers, like how they can improve their maybe photography or create their own props or just see how I work. And sometimes I still have parents coming to the studio and they say, okay, we were looking on the internet, like how I could take photos of my own baby, because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to book a newborn shoot. So I was pregnant, was just Googling how I can create beautiful images of my own baby. And then I came across her channel, and then I thought, okay, just forget about it. I'm going to go to her. I'm not even going to try it myself. And then they book a session with me. So they found me on YouTube. That happens. Right. So, I mean, other photographers, if they want to start a YouTube channel, they could maybe show some behind the scenes, introduce themselves, maybe give some tips and tricks to parents who want to prepare for a session, what you should like, outfit ideas for a photo session, posing ideas, so they can, you know, find you on the internet and then say, okay, that's a nice photographer, we want to go there for our session. Yeah.
And I appreciate the honest answer, Fenna. And too, on top of this, um, it's nothing wrong with building a network within your industry and, you know, helping out other photographers. So I'm kind of speaking to our audience now. They might, if you hear YouTube channel, it doesn't really directly give me clients. That doesn't mean, if you like to make YouTube videos, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. There's certainly things to gain from helping out your community and networking with other professional photographers. And then Fenna says you still can get clients as well. And I saw a question in the audience, somebody asking, how do you get so many reviews on Google? One thing to remember is YouTube is owned by Google. So, you know, those platforms feed off each other. Like you say, you type something into YouTube that might not be so much related to your channel, but then your channel pops up and things like this. So again, if you want to do it, a YouTube channel, go ahead. Even if it doesn't necessarily directly lead to, you know, all these clients, you can still get clients coming your way, and it's still going to help your business if that's something that you like to do. Speaking of this, I'm going to come back to the audience questions here. Let me see if I can find my place again. I love your channel, Fenna. What is your best source? Okay, this is a good segue. Mario wants to know, he says he loves your channel, but what is your best source of new clients?
Google. Like, for sure, Google. Yeah. Like, I collected some reviews on Google. So if people type in like a newborn photographer, especially in the area where I live, I pop up a lot. So I actually, I have like in my booking form, I do ask the clients, like, where did you find me? And like 8 out of 10 times it's like Google, or through, of course, through other people, Instagram, but a lot of Google. So Google is your friend.
And that speaks to the importance of SEO, search engine optimization. I'm sure that's everybody's cringe word, but that's it. You know, that's exactly how that's going to benefit you. Is with Google, your name's going to show up earlier and higher in those Google searches and things like that. So some other things you can do is, you know, having a blog and other content that you can put on your website to, you know, elevate your visibility for certain words and things like this, to help your search engine optimization, and Google will find you easier. So great question, Mario. Let's see the next one from Melissa. How do you include photo products in a mini session? She wants to know if you offer 2 packages, one with and one without, or how you go about doing that.
Yeah, at this moment, I don't really offer products yet to my customers. So yeah, I like these mini albums. I have one here. I like this size because parents can put it in the diaper bag of the baby, or like the purse of the mom. But anyway, they can show it to people who come visit the baby or whatever. So I quite like this size, and like just like not that many spreads, but it's beautiful because it's lay flat, and it's you can wipe it even clean. I don't know if I can say that because of like if it's official, like a statement that you can wipe it clean, but yeah, I know my kids, they love going through photo albums, especially like their own albums, because it helps them to remember, and they just love seeing their, you know, the birthday parties from last year and holidays that we went on. So I like it when you have like a little album that you can offer to your clients, that the kids when they grow up can just read through, or like go through and watch and see, oh, that was me when I was a baby. And they know that they're loved from when they were very young, because they have photos of themselves in their parents' hands and with their siblings. But I must admit, I'm not really offering products yet, because I have just been very busy the last year. Like, it's been on my list. If you follow me on YouTube, I have videos on there where I'm saying like, yeah, I'm going to get into offering products to my clients, because I want to give them like a finished product, like a tangible something that they can place in their house, and it is just like beautiful, instead of them having the photos on their computer for the coming 10 years, and then their hard disk crashes and they email me like half crying that they lost all their photos and they never printed any, and they have actually never looked at the photos again. And like these photos, they deserve a beautiful place in their house. So I like it when you have a session and then they go home, and then a few weeks later they have a beautiful product in their home. And even like when people come to visit their home, they see the photos and you know the quality of the product. Like, I mean, if you give them the digital files, they can print it wherever they want. Sometimes they have like automatic color correction and it becomes really orange or yellow or red. Your picture is hanging there looking really ugly. And then people are like, oh, you went to that photographer, nice photo. And it's completely orange. But that wasn't the way it should have been if it was printed in a professional like lab. So all the time I'm saying I should get into offering products because I love the concept of offering a product, but I just haven't gotten really into it yet. So I'm not offering products actively at the moment, but I do have, for example, this album in the studio. Parents can hold it, watch it, and then if they want it, I can order it for them. So yeah, I'm not the best example talking about products for clients.
But you know the whys, and that was great.
Yeah.
The way you were speaking about why you want to do it, and hey, especially this year, we all understand that it just hasn't come up yet. And again, you know the whys, and those are great whys, and those are perfect reasons to want to offer print. And I just want to add, kind of to foresee for you and to people listening, especially when we're talking about mini sessions, products are a great way to help you, as I kind of asked earlier, get the most out of mini sessions. I know a lot of photographers out there who will kind of, what I kind of say, backload their mini sessions, where they'll make it really easy for a client to book the session, but then where the money comes in is when they're trying to, sell the product, and product that the clients will like too. So it's not like a gimmick. It's just one of those things that if you do it that way, then you can make some money selling the product from the mini session. So that's something that photographers, you can look forward to if you're offering products. And when we get to packages, that can turn out to be something like when I was asking about pricing, Fenna, where it kind of comes down to specifically what you want or what your clientele likes to do as well. But while we're on the products, again, this is something that you want to do, but you're showing a product of ours. Oh, and by the way, yes, our products are certainly durable enough to be cleaned properly. Please follow the guidelines we have listed on our website and in our product care instructions. But our products certainly are durable enough to be cleaned properly. So don't worry about that. But the point I'm trying to make is you have one of our products there. You have a video on your YouTube channel where you're talking about products, showing one of our products. So you're going to be coming to us. You've already come to us in many ways.
Yeah.
What was it about us, though, at nPhoto that made you want to try us out for your product vendor?
Well, I love the variety as well. Like I went to the professional imaging fair, like when it was still there, like a year and a half ago. So I flocked it, even it's on my YouTube channel. And I went to your stand and you saw all these like beautiful like albums and like USB sticks and like just it's a whole experience. It's like a luxury product and you open it and it's just wow, like it's velvet, it's wood, it's laser engraved, and the possibilities are endless. So it's pretty, like they're pretty things. I like pretty things, and it's something different than like a lot of websites offer decent albums to people and they can print it themselves. So I think if you as a photographer offer products that is in a higher price segment as well, it should be different and like not just something that they can get on any website, but yeah, like a luxury product and just something beautiful to display in their home. I also like the product where you have, I don't know what it's called, but you have like your photo, it's a little bit thicker. So you have it on display, but you have several ones. So you can change the one that's in the front and then the one that you just had in the front, I don't know, you place it in the back and then you rotate which photo is on your desk or which is on your, I don't know, English is not my first language.
Don't worry. When you have it on display, yeah.
Yeah, just your
dresser, your fireplace, your mantle. Yeah, and again, you have the why down, and that's what's the important part. And I think that's a really key point that you brought up too, is that these are things when you come through a lab, say like nPhoto, that your clients are not going to be able to get anywhere else. We only service professional photographers. So if your client, even if they wanted to order from us, we wouldn't let them. We vet everybody that tries to sign up with us to make sure that they are a professional photographer, to look out for the interest of professional photographers. It's also why our pricing is invisible to the public until you sign in. And something like this is one of our albums. This is a 6x6. It's going to be included in the promo, 45% off. We also do 6x8 or 8x6. So, but as you say, 800 GSM spreads is very thick. It's very sturdy. It's an heirloom product. It's going to last them a long time. And the other point that you made about printing, you have your own reputation to look out for as a photographer. And like you said, if you just give out a digital, that leaves the printing up to the client, and you have no idea how that's going to turn out. But they're still going to remember your name, even if they go to some discount printer and it turns out poorly. They're going to say, "Oh, Fenna," even though it's totally not your fault. So to stay in control through the whole process is also a really big advantage as a photographer to offering print products, because then again, you're in control of the whole process. So great. Let me see if I have any other questions in the audience.
I also have some questions in Dutch, but you won't be able to read them.
Well, if you could translate them and answer them in English, that's perfectly fine.
What I use to film my YouTube videos, but it's actually in the description of the YouTube video. It says which camera it is. So I just wanted to say that, because it's not like a huge camera. It's a tiny one that you put in your pocket. So that's because and then there was one curious about the workflow, how I upsell as far as like packages, and how I became successful in selling photo products. But I kind of already answered that one. But I don't do like.
What we'll do is we'll schedule again in a year, and then you can tell us the questions about the products.
But because I know like time is limited, especially like I work after I bring the kids to school, and then I do 2 sessions, and then I pick them up from school, and then I don't know, we have swimming classes and cooking dinner, and then bring them to bed, and then I open my computer, and then I edit and enter emails, and then I do have some friends and family members that want some attention once in a while. So to me, what kind of like stopped me from offering products yet is just that it takes a lot of time when people come back to the studio for like an ordering session. So I could do less sessions if people come back to order products. So of course I could have products already available in the studio, so that during the session while I'm photographing their newborn, they can already have a look at the products that they like. And then I could communicate afterwards, like, what do you want to order? And even design the album, like how many spreads or whatever. Or I just have like one option, and I already ordered the album for them, or like make a design, and then they only have to say yes or no, or make 1 or 2 adjustments. And then maybe even the album can be sent straight to the customer without having the invoice there. And we're like, I know that those options are there, so it doesn't really cost me a lot of extra time. Because if customers, like sometimes I have customers who drive 2-3 hours to come to my studio, so they don't want to come back the next week to order, like to look at products and then order their products, because it takes them a lot of time. It costs me time. So then I just have to think of ways of how to sell these products without making that I have less time for other sessions. Case asked me to show me my dog. I can ask Jamie to come to the studio.
If I could though, just jump in for a second, Fenna, and then we'll go back to the audience questions. These are valid points that you're making, and this also speaks to the importance of sample products that you had mentioned. Like, so you have something around when your client comes in, and this particular promo we have for mini sessions is only for client orders, but check in with us because we also frequently have promos on samples as well. But a thing you can do to help to push products and get people to experience them, though they might have to commute to you, is you can do digital previews of your print products. You can take advantage of things like our mock-ups, where you insert your own images into kind of the image of the product itself. So for example, if you have an album but it has a photo cover, you can put your own photo in the cover of the album, and you can send it over, and it's photographed in a nice way so that it looks really special, so they can kind of get a feel for it. And you can pair that even with spreads, through our online design, or you can send the project with them, so they can kind of get a feel for everything before they even drive to you. Of course, it's not a tangible thing, but at least they're getting exposed to the idea of products and things like this. So you can take advantage of things like our mock-ups. And you also mentioned shipping without like a label or something, and that is something that we offer as well.
Yeah.
Through our service too. The question I wanted to ask you before we go back to the questions in the audience for a second and then wrap it up. You are not into the products yet, but what are some that you kind of have your eye on? Are there some products where you know, like, okay, maternity and newborn, an album is going to be nice? What are some other products that you are excited to start to offer because you know that they will be popular for maternity and newborn photographers?
Ooh, tough one. Yeah, because I'm kind of like still like an old school person. I
Okay.
like canvases or like wooden blocks. So I know that the options are endless. Maybe like a system where you can like change a little bit or add onto it, maybe some wall art where it kind of like grows with you. I don't know. I don't even know if you have that, but I know for myself, like I can fill up the whole house with photos of my kids from the last 8 years. But then the coming 8 years, I'm going to create just as many beautiful images. And at some point, my house is full. So like, and then like, I don't want to get rid of the older ones. So it's nice if it grows with you or like, yeah, I love albums a lot because I think it's just great. Like kids love books and they love it when you read a book to them. Even if it doesn't have any words, just go through the books and tell stories and just like holding on to those memories and loved ones as well. Like if you have photos with their grandparents, but unfortunately they're not alive anymore, going through those albums will help the kids to remember those people as well. So I always loved books. And like when I was at the fair, I saw huge like prints as well. And they're all like beautiful, like the quality. And I love just wood, like anything like natural products and engraved and like rich, warm materials. Yeah.
I'm going to put out, Fenna, I'm going to put out a last call for questions from the audience. We'll get to what's already there. But if you're thinking of one or think you'll have one, last call for questions. I'm going to say just one thing quickly. We'll finish up the questions and then we're going to kind of start to wrap it up. So last call, if you have a question, please put it in the comments now so we don't miss it. And I want to say to you, Fenna, and to people listening, you described the perfect kind of package to offer. Again, this is extremely popular with maternity and newborn. And that is, what am I going to do? Because I want to have pictures of my kids as they're growing. You can turn that into a package for your clientele. And you can have a package, just a kind of a grow with me package. So every, however you want to do it, 3 months or 6 months or a year, they can lock themselves in to get some kind of a wall decor piece. Canvases is something we also offer, or some kind of album, or some kind of prints to put into a box so they could come away after 5 years or something with a nice collection of their child having gone through. That's a very popular package that a lot of maternity and newborn photographers offer for their clientele involving some form of print product. I want to come back to the questions, as I said, before we kind of finish up here. Yes, Keys said to finish your dog. It's kind of where we ended up. Recommend any newborn workshops? Maria wants to know if you recommend any newborn workshops.
It really depends on where you live. Because you can watch a lot of videos online. Kelly Brown has some great videos. Anna Brandt has a lot of videos, which are great. And I have some videos as well. But to actually hold a baby, wrap a real baby, support them with posing pillows, see how they move. I think that's the best way to learn is during like a real actual newborn workshop. And in many countries, you have experienced professional photographers who offer these types of workshops. And I love those one-on-one workshops where you actually post the baby after you have followed classes and everything. And then they give you feedback as you post the baby, because that's the best way to feel what you're doing and learn it. And then take the photo, see your camera settings. And it's really one-on-one. So I think you grow the most. And I mean, it's an investment because you not only pay for the time of the actual workshop, but also all the experience that the photographer has already gained in the previous years. And they give you all that knowledge, and it's very valuable. And then you can start and grow your own business. So it's an investment in yourself, investment in your business. And it can be a little bit pricey, but I think, you want to offer a safe session to your clients. and you're holding their most precious, beautiful, it's not even like if a baby is a possession, that's a whole different story. But I mean, you're holding that beautiful little human being, and they just, I mean, they have hormones going through their body. They just went through like a pregnancy for 9 months, then labor, and maybe they're struggling with breastfeeding, or the baby is just crying a lot or whatever. They come to their studio, they're exhausted, they want to have beautiful photos, and they want to be able to hand you their baby and just trust you completely with their baby. They see that you know what you're doing. The baby is happy, is relaxed, is comfortable, is safe. And that's what you learn during a newborn workshop as well. Also to be confident, so that when the people come in, they feel that you are confident in what you're doing, and they feel confident to hand their baby to you for you to take photos. So yeah, go and look in your country and see what they have to offer. And if you are Dutch, send me an email and I will give you a list of 2-3 newborn photographers here in the area, in the country, which offer great workshops at the moment.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Linda, hello. Sharon says hello. She says, how do you find us? From Belgium. Linda says, speaking of product, I don't know. I just wanted to say that when clients come in for, okay, this is not a question, but I'm going to finish reading it. Linda says, speaking of products, I just wanted to say that when clients come in for their in-person sales, they're so wowed by nPhoto products I offer. They realize they've never seen such beautiful printing before. They hold them and they're so much heavier than they were expecting. I've gone from making $500 from newborn work to $1,500 average per newborn session. So I would recommend selling products. Thank you, Linda. That's a great comment to be heard by our audience. Here's a question from Michael Czekański. What is your photography goal for the next few years, Fenna?
I don't really have like very specific goals. I'm kind of like an in the moment person as well. So like one day I can decide, oh, it would be cool to paint my own backdrops, like dark, moody, and do some fine art prints with some like antique looking clothes. I run to the thrift store, I get some outfits, I do a model call, and the next day I'm like doing these type of photos. So yeah, I can be pretty spontaneous with that. So sometimes I have some ideas, like it would be fun to, I don't know, like it can be anything. Like I live in a completely different area right now, and it's like different nature, so you have more options. But I don't really have like big goals. Like I still want to continue perfecting my newborn images, and baby up to 1 year, and maternity, and the rest is just all being creative, challenging myself as well, developing creative arts, and just going with the flow.
And selling nPhoto print products. I have a question for you. Speaking of in the moment, because you're an in the moment person, I hate to bring up this dreaded topic that everybody is sick of now, but how are you doing in this environment with COVID-19? Is business okay for you? And or what are some things that you are still doing or other photographers can still do to keep at it during this time, even though it might be difficult?
Speaking for myself, I still have customers coming to the studio. Like I'm fully booked the coming weeks, and that's great. And I feel very blessed and privileged to have that customers are still willing to come. Of course, I have disinfecting gel, I wear a face mask, gloves, I have shoe covers. I email them beforehand, saying that they can only come with 2 adults and the kids. It's 3 at the moment, which are allowed, maximum amount of people that you can have coming to your home. So I go for 2 adults and then the kids, or it's usually just 1 child. I ask them beforehand if they have any symptoms, and if they do, please communicate it honestly, and we can like reschedule the session, no costs. So they come here, they're healthy, we keep our distance as much as possible, and I do wear all the masks and gloves and everything. I still have customers coming. I actually realized that maybe more people are booking a cake smash session for the first birthday because they're not allowed to celebrate big anymore. Like they cannot throw a big party with a lot of people, and some people planned it because first birthday, it's a big deal. They want to have like they want to rent a place, have all the family members, cake, whatever. But now you can only have a maximum of 3 people coming to your house a day. So they cannot even host the birthday parties in blocks. It's just, they just changed that last Tuesday. So instead of throwing a big party, they can come here, just the parents and the baby. We do a cake smash session. You have beautiful images, and then they can share the images with family and friends. They can place it in the album, or like order a beautiful album for the baby to look at later when they're older. So they still had a birthday memory, even though they couldn't throw a big party, but they had the session. So yeah, if customers are worried booking a session, maybe tell them all the measurements that you like, the precaution measurements that you have in the studio, like how you take care of, like how you want to protect their health as well, and that they're still allowed to come, if that's allowed in your country. Of course, if your country is forbidding any sessions, maybe offer online tips to, like, make sure that maybe send out a newsletter to your customers so you still keep in touch, like giving tips and tricks on how the parents can photograph their own children. And then of course they won't be like your images, but you still are bonding with your clients. And then by the time that hopefully everything is back to the real normal, that they will still come to your studio for a session when the baby's a little bit older. Maybe sell still coupons, like gift certificates, if you have a hard time paying your studio rent, that maybe if they pay for a session now, they get a free complimentary, I don't know, something when they come, or a little discount. Yeah, there are still some things that maybe you can do. Maybe you can just get into other areas of photography. Maybe when you're a wedding photographer, it's really bad right now because weddings are canceled, but maybe you can start getting into like product photography, or just other types of photography. I don't know if I'm the best to say this, but because at this time I still have sessions, or make props, clean your studio, wash everything, create your own backdrops, and post photos of maybe a stuffed toy in front of the backdrop, but still post something on your social media accounts so that they don't forget about you, even though you don't have sessions, but that your studio still looks beautiful, ready to go. As soon as you have the green light, you can go. Yeah.
Those are great suggestions, Fenna. You gave off so much information, so many ideas for people to do, and they were all wonderful ideas. So many people in the comments are thanking you, Fenna, and I want to thank you as well for your time and your wonderful knowledge. It was such a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, but that's going to wrap it up for today. Don't forget about our current promotion with nPhoto, 45% off select products, perfect for mini sessions. That's something you can use over and over again for client orders, so you can really make the most out of every product you sell and get you through this troubling time that you might be in. Thank you again, Fenna. Before we sign off, just let our audience know where they can find out more about you, maybe your website and your YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is Fenna Photography. So yeah, I just posted a video on how you create your own newborn outfits. So yeah, this one, or like arm knitting a blanket for your newborn photo session. So that's my promo talk for my YouTube channel. On Instagram, you can find me as well with Fenna Photography. So that's the behind the scenes account. And then I have my Wonder Fotografie account, which is more aimed at my clients, but you're welcome to join there as well. And then I have my website, which you will probably not be able to find if I just say it, but it's somewhere linked in the description. It's wonder-fotografie.nl, so wonders / I don't know, little line in the middle, photography.nl. So yeah,
and yes, that is included in the description of the event. It's hot linked. So for your convenience, audience, if you scroll up to the top to the description, you will find these links to Fenna's platform. Thank you very much again, everybody. And thank you especially, Fenna, for joining us today. That's going to do it. My name is Gene Negevetsky with nPhoto. You all stay safe out there. Take care.
Bye-bye.